well number one, I've
Number one on the new business, Montserrat Treasurer's Help, Mayor Sasser is here and present. Would you like to go ahead and have the floor and speak? Step up to the mic. Or close to it.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to come and share. First off, I want to say thank you very much for, recognizing the flag. There at the mayor's meeting, what we have once a month out there, they were not doing that until I asked why. And from that point forth, we've been doing the budget. So that's important. So when you see something, you got to move forward and ask about it. But so on Thursday of last week, Angie, she said to me about talking with your lady over here,
Rachel.
and with Rachel, I was like, we got to do something there to help you guys. So I said, what if, and you know how I am, Steve, I think outside the box all the time. So
You do.
I was like, okay, so what if we loan our lady out to you guys, for a training process? Couple things I would definitely want to say. Visions is a very difficult program. I mean, it is cumbersome and it isn't something that you can try to cross-train multiple people on, because if you're not using it every day, you lose what's in there, as far as understanding how it works. So what I would do is we'll come up with an interlocal agreement, and if your board, city council agrees to it. And I thought the fairest way to do is just take what a loaded wage is, and that loaded wage is like $34.25 an hour. So so we just took what all the loaded wage was and broke it out. And I thought, first off, legal says, well, they have this 5-page document, how legal is. And they wanted to have a starting time and an ending time, how many hours a week and all this stuff. I think it's pretty simple. We just say what is needed. If you guys need somebody, what's needed, just give us a holler and say, hey, can you come over tomorrow or next day? We just do it.
Okay.
So something simple, and I like things simple. So no sense having legal write up a big old document that, if we just agree to, doing the $34.25, I'd be fine with that, as long as everybody agrees to that, and they'll just use a city vehicle to drive over here. And I think your lady should be back on the 10th or something like that next month.
Right around the 10th.
Yeah, so whenever that is, so I just want to offer that out there to you guys.
Did you figure in the gas and transportation stuff?
We'll just use our vehicle, don't worry about it.
You sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, some things.
I'm not trying to take advantage of it or anything like that.
Oh, no, just wait until next New Year's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, the biggest damn cheese ball you ever seen.
I'm still working on a cannon.
There you are.
Yeah, so anyway, I think, I want to reach that out to you guys and give you guys a hand. The other thing I want to say is that it was nice to hear you one gentleman up here talking about matting and the digester and the thickener and stuff. We just emptied out our digester and thickener the first time since that plant's been built back in the 80s. And if anybody has ever seen, have you ever seen your tanks empty? Have you ever had your tanks empty?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're deep, and we checked out our aerators, air basins in there, and luckily those are all in good shape. But, and then the polymer pump, hearing that you guys had trouble. So really, everything that we have problems with, everybody else has problems with it too,
We all share, we all share.
Yeah, so, but anyway, so that's what I have to say to that.
Okay.
Anyway,
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming through.
I'm just gonna sit here and enjoy the rest of this.
Okay, we'll try to make it short and sweet. Should we entertain a motion on this tonight, or do you what do you guys want to do? Accept what you
I'm
offer?
more than happy to make a motion that we take Mayor Sasser up on his offer to help at $34.25, which is the loaded wage on a very simple interlocal at our need, as our needs meet, as our needs.
I agree.
It's a pretty complicated motion.
For clerk.
For clerk treasurer help, yeah.
Yes,
I would second that.
second that motion.
And I have questions.
Of course you do.
Discuss.
Go
Are
ahead.
we issuing a paycheck? Are we issuing, you're issuing a bill to us that we're paying the bill?
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be a paycheck.
No, not a paycheck. It'd just be a reimbursement.
Keeps it simple.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Keep it simple.
Yep.
I like that.
Yes.
Okay, motion's been made, discussion we've had. Let's vote on it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.
Okay, number two, Public Works expenditures for 5-year reservoir cleanout. Mike's not here to talk about it.
Mike left.
Mike left, probably, I don't know what happened, but
We heard a verbal of $8,500 last time. Do we have an invoice?
I don't know that he said any price.
I
Right.
read those minutes that you guys had
Well-
85, yeah, here it is. The cost will be about 8,500. The expenditure will be on the next council packet.
Yeah, I don't think we need to necessarily approve the divers coming down. I think it's a need of the city, right, to have tanks cleaned for our.
We need to figure
Yep.
out where it comes, we need to figure out where it comes from. I'm wondering and hoping it can come from capital expenditure because
I would think
I
so too.
asked numerous times last year to please look deep into what water and sewer
Yeah.
needs.
All we need is
so
a
we can
budget
get things on
amendment,
the
right?
budget. And yeah, I think moving forward, it would be nice to, since we know this is every 5 years, to put, whatever it is, $1,800 a year
Yeah,
towards it
absolutely.
and then pay for it, because
Yeah.
it's kind of catching us off
So they're
guard.
hitting us all at once.
yeah,
It's catching us off guard and we do not have.
This year it did catch us off guard again. It is every 5 years on 3,500 and the cost could possibly go up. But if we have some kind of revenue going into the pot every year, it won't be a hard hit. In 5 years, we have to do it again. Yes,
Can I say something?
go ahead.
We just had our tanks inspected and they have a robotic RV that actually goes inside there without the diver. And we just got done with ours. Ours was integrated underwater services
Mhm.
and our bill was a little over $5,000. And so they actually didn't have to do any vacuuming because it wasn't to the depth that needed to be worried about. So then we put our reservoirs on a 10-year plan now, since it was so good. So just as a thought, the other thought was that, maybe have your guy reach out to our guy and talk about things that might help each other out.
Where did you find the robotic one at?
Damon Stevens.
'Cause
he's a-
my guy told me, our public works guy told me there was only 2 people. Double people, whatever you want to call it, in this whole area that does this. That's why you have to get on a schedule to even get them to come here.
In fact, we was able to make a call and 30 days later have them here.
Okay,
Yeah, so just maybe in the future there, anything that's happening, maybe,
well, we've already set this up.
Right.
The only bad thing, but I will have in contact
yeah,
you guys.
okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
So we don't need a motion on that, do we? Or do you want to put in for a motion to every year have a certain amount to put into the kitty?
No, I think that's just a process thing that needs to happen at,
So we don't
you
need
take
to-
notes for budget.
Everybody okay with that? Okay, moving on, scheduling monthly workshops last Monday of each month at 5:30. Do we need a motion on this?
I don't,
Yes.
I reached out to RMSC and they didn't understand my question so that I could find out what we needed to do. They thought I was talking about an actual council meeting. But it is council's desire just to have something ongoing that we know about.
Or preparedness.
Yeah.
My understanding that if it's an open meeting and you're scheduling it regularly, that you do need to have a motion to establish that.
Well, then I'll make a motion that we establish a council workshop for the last Monday of each month at 5:30 PM.
For the purpose of looking at a budget and policy.
well,
You can discuss that.
It's-
Yeah, I think
It
that
doesn't
as it comes up, like we do this meeting,
There could be something else.
yeah.
topics to be discussed as
There it
needed,
is.
right?
Yeah. Okay,
You'll have different topics. Do I hear a second on that motion?
I second that motion.
Okay, is there any more discussion on the motion?
I can say that I don't like the date that it's scheduled. And I'm apparently the only one, but
Oh, that doesn't want to extend out
I-
the duration of
I don't
the,
want another meeting day. I would just as soon do it before or after our regular meeting.
I know we can't do it before because because we have people that day jobs don't allow for that, and then after has us here until 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Or maybe 10.
And the
I
only thing
know,
about,
I'm just expressing
Yeah.
my displeasure.
Okay,
the only good thing I see about it is at a separate time is it's more productive,
yeah, we come into it fresh.
targeted.
Yeah.
And we're.
And quite often,
Burn
quite often, the
off.
number of times of the year that turns out to be a fifth Monday anyway, so we're going 3 weeks between council meetings, so it's kind of it's a nice time to have it.
Okay, is there any more
Thank you,
discussion?
Jamie.
It's
more
the
discussion?
last Monday of each month.
Right.
It's not the fifth.
But
Monday.
a couple, 3 or 4 times a year, that ends up being the fifth Monday. And we would have actually had 3 weeks between council meetings. So we kind of, half of it's an extra meeting and half of it's kind of the other week.
Yeah, I thought that.
And if it don't work,
And if it don't work, we change it.
There
we'll
it
change
is.
it. Okay, is that all the discussion on it? Let's vote on it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nah.
Motion carries by unanimous. Number 4, status and plans for police motorcycle, mayor and public works. Haven't heard a word back from Sam the last time I talked to him. I don't know where it's at.
It's in his garage. Did I hear that you and Mike Fisher were gonna go pick it up, or did I hear that wrong?
Well, we talked about going to pick it up, but where are we gonna put it, store it, keep it dry? We can keep it up there
Mike's not here.
at the shed, but
That's what I was thinking. We keep it in the shed.
there's no heat up there. It's a fire heat, the thing is fire stove. That's all we got up there for heat. I don't think Mike would stick around and keep the fire going in these winter months.
Can it
I don't
go
want,
back?
I don't want the rust or anything like that either. And the dampness condensation in that building could be tremendous in the winter time. If that thing starts rusting, the price-
So,
price-
Mr. Mayor, a chief factor can't buy the motorcycle?
He has a council member or two that doesn't really agree with him yet, but he's been working on it. Last time I talked to him, the mayor's for it, but not all the council's for it.
So. why
I
don't
can
they
reach,
just-
I can reach out again to him.
I
I'm
was gonna say,
trying.
why don't I reach out to him like on Thursday or Friday and just touch base with him and see what's going on?
Okay,
That way, if I need to go up there and talk to their council, I can do that as well. I mean,
okay, because we need to get rid of it.
we need to figure out if he's
Yeah.
gonna buy it or not. If he's not gonna buy it, then we gotta figure out. what we're gonna
Right, we need to get rid of it.
do. And right now it's safe and it's housed and it's being taken care of, so
Right.
moving it would be a good idea until we know for sure.
Right,
And then at some point here, pretty shortly, we probably should look at surplusing it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been-
not writing.
It's been
it,
quite a
so
while.
it ain't happening.
Over the past.
Mike wants to ride it. Mike has a license, for his own motorcycle, so he wants to ride it. Anyway, Dan,
Then we put it over at the fire station, talk to them.
a fire
Have
station,
a spot. And paved it, and there's somebody there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And just right next door.
yeah, anyway, let's
good.
just, you wanna table this motorcycle thing?
Sure, let's.
We'll get some more information on it by next meeting, definitely this week, we'll find
I
out.
like the idea of the fire station if Patrick can't get it.
Okay.
He can buy it.
And Mike would love to drive it, so,
Yeah,
there we go, kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I can talk to Bill.
yeah, it's okay, yeah.
Okay, that's all we got for new business, unfinished business, and local agreement, Winlock Court Services update, Eric.
So as I started to talk about, it's a complicated thing. It is not something for us to jump into leaving the county and going to our own. Our mayor, Mr. Buzzard, was definitely for us moving, and so I kind of want to follow it because of that. I personally think it's a good idea. So anyway, what I did was I went and met with, like I said, the judge and the clerk. They talked a little bit about the differences between the priorities of a small, I guess it's I forget what the name of it is, not a municipal or a municipal court versus the larger county court. And their words were great, they all sounded right. But I actually went and sat in on an hour and a half of court last week. And that was an experience. And I tell you what they did was exactly what they were talking about. And they had a really good example of people in various states of not showing up or, having various things that they're doing. And I really liked seeing that one of the things is there's a lot of people, I guess, apparently in Winlock that have their license suspended and they drive anyway. The judicial branch of Winlock tries to get these people their license back. That's their number one thing, right? Rather than just fine them or something and then let them go get in trouble again. They are more lenient with them if they can get them through that process, which sounds great. I did, and I also got to speak with Mr. Enbody at the end, who is our public defender. And I can understand why he does not like the county. Apparently, they do not want to work with that judge, and that's only going to get worse. He told me he's not interested in extending it out any longer than we have until the end of the year. And then he's not going to want to do it either. So I think we're going to find ourselves in a weird position if we don't move forward with this. That said, I think that we've got a couple months to get it figured out. We shouldn't slack and take our time, but we should make sure that we do it right. It looked like it's something we can afford. I've got some idea. It sounded like I got some ideas on what it would cost. I've been looking at the budget. Looks like we only have about $10,500 budgeted towards judicial expenses specifically. And
That's a motorcycle.
and it would be $1,500 a month. So it would end up being more than that number, but not a lot more than that number. But it does give us more control of, like, when the chief goes and writes a ticket for somebody flying down 505. We don't get much money from that from the county. It ends up costing us money.
Yeah,
It would be better if people, I can be more effective at slowing people down if we're not afraid to write them tickets. And so I think it's a good thing. I just think we need to work on it a little more slowly.
we got,
So, did they talk about doing up contracts? Because we got the contract for what, the judge?
We got the contract for the judge, we got the contract for the court services, and it would be our legal representation that would be the prosecuting attorney.
would that be anybody?
No, he's the public defender, so he's on, it would be, Marissa was there, and the other gentleman that comes, Dana was there as well. They have a lot more going on
So we
court-wise than we
would be
do.
paying for them separately then.
We would be, and one of the things that they looked like they were trying to do is they tried to take those costs into what the punishment is. So, somebody got picked up for shoplifting, and for a $6 shoplift, they're gonna pay for the cost of what it costs to run them through the court. And that's a lot more than $6. I think they ended up with like $600 worth of fines.
Randall, you got the same lawyer, same.
Exactly.
Same issues we do.
Yeah,
I appreciate
at our city council meeting, we had the same discussion. The difference between the district court and mini code court is that the district court, they impose a greater jail time than mini code does. And the problem that comes in is that you have a judge in district court that says, you know what, for something that should have just been a fine, you know what, we're going to throw you in jail for 3 or 4 weeks. And then naturally, then that comes out of our own pocket.
Right.
And there again, is that really helping that individual who's in trouble in the beginning? No, it's not. So from our perspective and from my perspective, our city council is having the same discussion that you guys are having. Is that when you look at all the numbers and you go, okay, we know you're going to have an added contract for the judge and so forth, and for the court services. One of the discussions came up was, okay, if you had to transport somebody from jail to court, well, almost everything is Zoom meetings right now. Nothing is transported,
They had 2 people that showed up on Zoom, and one that refused to come from his cell.
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing that, the council wants to have as much information as they can. But there again, I look at the fact that, Jim's office they would not steer us in the wrong direction because they're firsthand with what's going on, so.
Well, it's not like just us two. You got Applevine, Winlock also,
Morton.
and Morton, I'm the same umbrella, same person, so, yeah, you wouldn't steer us in the wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think so either. Okay, is that it, Eric?
That's it. So I guess what we should do is we should probably build up or write up a plan and get that in front of council so that we kind of see more than just 2 contracts.
The other part of the whole equation, if I might jump in here, is that you do have a time frame from the time that you have to let district court know that. And I think that's
That's like
90
90
days
days,
or 60 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that has to be part of all of that same equation.
Does it have a start time or when?
We're supposed to have, well, June 1
Okay.
is starting the 90 days, I believe it is. So we're actually having a special meeting on the 29th of this month. Special council meeting to finally make our final decision or have their, we'll make the final decision.
Okay,
So I'm sorry, you said it was June 1 is when you're going to start your 90 days or,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because don't we have the public defender, there's a limit to his time.
Through the end of the year.
Okay,
And it sounds like actually he charges what you say, I guess the mini court, that's a good name. He charges that less than he's charging us now. So I believe his current fee is $90 per unit, going up to 110 next year or 210 next year. And I think he was at 3 something with us at the county. So we might, it might offset a little one way or the other. Definitely our minimum monthly outlay is going to go up. But I think that, you're, as the mayor was saying, that long-term, the risk comes down. Our ability to have more control over our ability to write tickets goes up. And I don't see how this doesn't really net out to be worst case, a break even.
And I think also I hate to break it down to income, geez, but the income from those tickets, the majority of that will stay with us.
Yes, as opposed to you don't get very much of it all from the
Yes,
county.
and you don't give it away to the county.
The other thing that I could say is that if you go back for 2 years and try to base numbers on those, you can't do that because
Yeah.
that's during COVID
Mhm.
and nothing was happening during COVID.
Right.
So you have to really go back 4 years or 4 years to really see how much jail time was being issued. And at that point, so.
We are spending, I believe we're spending $4,000 or $5,000 a year on jail time right now.
Well,
Plus what it costs.
That, I mean,
for
we
those
have
county
somebody
courts.
incarcerated right now that's costing us money. So I think that probably what we should do is put a plan together and put it together with those contracts and see if we can firm up the blank lines that were in those contracts. Unless we are going to just approve them in principle and then negotiate from there.
you want to do that at the workshop? Coming up?
Yeah, we could, that's a good
Yeah, I
idea.
think
We could
that's-
do that at the workshop and then the first meeting of next month, we could,
We'll have a plan.
yeah, that sounds great.
and yeah.
Okay.
also have the lawyer
That's everything?
come too.
And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Anybody have any?
Public comment, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, just, real quick, Thursday market opened last week, right before the big meeting. Tons of new people coming in. It was real successful for the first day. And I don't see it doing anything differently. But what's important, what we're looking at right now is that pretty much any food assistance program that's coming through at a state or federal level, we're trying to get all of our vendors signed up for to make sure that they're able to take the things. The WIC program is expanding again. All folks that are getting those benefits now have information on that. So we're going to try to put most of our focus this year on being sure that everybody who needs help or is qualified for any kind of assistance, they know how to use their cards. We have the health department coming in with us a couple of times a month to make sure that information is readily available, because we think that's kind of important. And the other thing is we now have our kids club getting ready to launch. We're making plans now. We have some volunteers that will be helping us. So we'll be looking at state and county materials available for kid education, for nutritional stuff, and just to get it back into the market. But all of that growth isn't going to help us a whole lot if our customers are getting run down in the street. So seriously, I would be thrilled to see Chief Dwayne writing tickets instead of we know what's going to happen. And with us moving in the springtime out here, So we're gonna be having people park across the street as they normally do, from the boat ramp. And we know that that bridge is just a runway, people come flying through there, so I'm really hoping that some ticketing will be going on beforehand to get people a little bit more cognizant, and plus the meeting coming up with the state, hoping that they'll be able to do something.
Well, I think on that note, I got an idea of sitting the chief out there and turning those blue lights on. And every looky-loo that comes by is automatically gonna slow down just to see who the blue lights who got picked up. So I think we can kill two birds with one stone by doing that occasionally on Thursday or whatever day you want.
Yeah.
And,
Your $1 car out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we're gonna roll out for that. There's gonna be a combination of ways to deter speeders. You know, the community crime deterrent program, me being out there, another car out there.
well, and you mentioned posters with people standing on posters, they can do the same
That's
thing
what
on the
the
bridge.
community crime detention program.
Same thing on the bridge, because the speed limit on the bridge is 25.
Yeah.
It's not 55 till you get to this side of the bridge, and then, no, it's back there on the other side of the bridge, I know. I've seen it many times.
We used some of our grant money, safety grant, 5,000,
Mhm.
and we bought 2 signs, the solar signs that gives you your speed.
Yeah,
We put one in front of the school, then we put one down there on west part of the town. We put it, set it up, so it worked out really good. Somebody pushed it over, so then we moved it and put it in a bigger set of concrete. So now what has happened? Some of the kids now, as soon as they come around the corner, they see what their speed is. They see how fast they can go because it registers. So when you try to do solve it, you know,
Oh, yeah, it becomes a challenge. I think you gave an idea.
let's keep.
It's on live TV. It's never gonna be.
Anyway, Joe, you got something?
But the water bill got increased, is that correct?
6%.
And there's a mistake going in the water bill. Oh, go ahead. Yes, it got increased. I'm sorry, the water bill's went out with a mistake and
So was there a notice sent out?
some.
But we passed the ordinance, or we passed the 6% increase in January. It just took effect for this last billing.
We have never got a notice. I'm not the only one going, they must have passed the increase and no one knew.
And that was during the
a-
time we had no one, the office left.
But,
The office was empty.
and then Michael, I got double billed on everything.
Dan, you're not the only one. We
Yeah.
had about
Okay.
15 calls this morning. We're
We
trying to
already
work,
paid the first one, we're not gonna pay this one at all.
we're trying to work it out
That's it.
the best we can. Okay, right now we got one in the operating table and she took 5 hours today to get that done.
So actually that gives me, I'm sorry, I'll let you talk, but that gives me a good, just struck my memory. When we approved this time with the visions, it was our hope that we would have more than one set of eyeballs looking over that education, and specifically, I'm gonna call out, I thought Cindy was gonna be a part of it. I'd like to see that happen because she could have potentially been in a position to help do something about that while Rachel's not here at the moment. So
That is what I brought up in my,
I was just getting a little more specific. It would be
Yes.
good if there were a couple people, and Cindy is our IT tech savior. So it would, I mean, it's kind of seems obvious to have her watch the software get used.
well, and maybe I don't belong in the office, but I have 34 years of accounting. I could learn that system and be able to train somebody. So yes, we do need some.
It's something to talk about. Okay, thank you.
So it's water under the bridge.
We did bring up the parking issue, and I was kind of unanimous that we probably need to change this to angle parking on both sides of Ramsey. The other option is the parking lot where the old barbecue used to be. That's owned by the city. I don't think many people know that that's open parking for the city, so maybe you put a sign there or something.
As long as we're long-term looking at a way to make that a safe place to walk in and out of because
Right.
it's not right now.
And so you could either put a crosswalk there, but then we're back to the lighting situation that you beat down here.
Yeah.
Because it's still on the curve.
And the church parking lot.
The church does give us access, the city access to it on everything, every day but Sunday.
Which church?
That
Toledo Presbyterian.
Presbyterian Church.
I think that was first created when the clinic needed to have more designated parking for their employees and visitors. And the sign just now says public parking. Except for Fridays or
That's a good idea that
Saturday,
we can put
Sunday.
some signage to show that that's parking. I suppose we can't paint the gravel.
You're gonna have to. Put something up there so they don't go driving into the jailhouse, so. You designate that.
Oh, a couple blocks, yeah.
Ecology blocks will stop them.
Yes.
Well, then that takes away from the beauty of the jailhouse,
I think it'll probably be okay.
so.
I mean,
Those little plastic.
That's a good idea. Yeah, so rather, since we can't paint, we could just put bumpers to give people the idea that they can pull in.
Were they going to measure them with the Ramsey to determine whether it was feasible or?
I think you'd have to talk to the Parks
The
Department.
ice parking?
Strict the length of vehicles in there, though.
I'm sorry.
If you have to restrict the length of vehicles.
Like a long pickup.
3 feet.
Yeah, I've seen trucks like that.
What's the hitch?
And that overflow parking seems to happen on Augustus anyway, you know, with the long vehicles.
And we have had in the past. For that one block in front of Donna's diagonal, both ways.
Was that while it was one way? Or has it always been one way?
Well, yeah,
It's always been one way.
one way, and for a long time,
Yeah.
it was that way. So it has been.
I just.
Thank you.
Close that.
Great, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
thanks for following up on that.
Tim, is there a chance we could get 3 minutes talking about what's going on in the park and potentially online, online reservations, or no? We're not ready? Okay,
No, we're not quite ready.
well, we can hint that it's potentially coming.
Yes, it's definitely coming.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Yes.
with like a map and details on every single one of the lots, so people can, yeah, okay, that'll be great.
In the works.
It's in the.
Thank you, thank you.
The rest of it now is just maintenance and getting ready for camp season to start, and get further droughts and start mowing stuff.
Oh, that'll come all too soon. It'll be fixed. It will be fixed.
Great.
It will be.
Is it possible we can have like a first meeting of the month status from you where you have an opportunity to, that'd be.
I'd like to be able to-
That's- No, I have,
Afford.
yes. Is,
Park
set-
board's gonna meet?
well, I'm not in charge of the park board.
Okay.
I'm a park board, I'm not even an advisor, I'm a looker on. So, the,
Well, that's the mayor's board, so maybe
Yeah.
the mayor, you can figure out how to get it kickstarted again.
I have sent out an email, and I decided omnipotently that maybe we could have, the last day of the month, which is maybe Friday. I mean, it
As
could
long
be,
as it's not Monday.
it's not a Monday. And maybe we could have it here at City Hall. It could be at 6 o'clock or something. It would be, what needs to be talked about with city parks. Bring what needs to be talked about, and let's start at 6 here. On the 31st of this month. March.
So we had a
31st.
process when it was being done, right, where it gets put up on the website and we put notice of it up and.
Yeah,
No? Okay.
no,
I'm happy to- I'm
There's
happy
been a-
to Facilitate that if.
What is that? Led Zeppelin song communication.
I've seen that in other cities where they
It's
have.
okay,
a
it
park
happens
board.
to the best of us. So we're getting back on this horse.
You want it 6 p.m. here?
Hmm,
6 p.m. here?
6 p.m. here, March 31st. Yep, we're doing it.
Thank you, Emily.
You're welcome.
Fred,
One quick regarding the park, one of the things I do at the market, I want to have very on the table to have. Flyers and things about, hey, what's going on in town, cheap days and for all of those. And a ton of people coming over to do buys.
did you
If
get,
there's something specifically, yes, those, if there's something specifically that's going to be printed up. For the park, one's called reservation, or whatever gets started, I'd like to have a bunch of them. So I can have them at the table at the market.
Okay, I believe that Rachel's working on Square. but you can actually like, is
QR
that gonna
code?
be part of it?
QR code.
I'm sorry.
Chair to talk.
Okay, Xing out what I, okay, oh, I'm sorry.
Whenever it's ready, I would like to help see it. Yes,
Information will be available as it comes along.
perfect.
I do know that right now I have been working on a cleanup Toledo. That's what I'm calling it. It can be called whatever you want. I'm getting the Public Works of Lewis County to come down on April 29th. They're gonna be setting up various and sundry different recycling, paper shredding,
Metal and appliance.
metal and appliance, thank you. It's gonna be at the water towers.
Did you
And
confirm that?
Did
with
we-
I
Mike?
confirmed it
Yeah.
with Mike and I confirmed it with the Public Works up in Chehalis. So I will have more information. I will have more information on that and a flyer to send out. It'll be on the website and also posted here at City Hall. So I need to confirm the actual time, but I believe they usually start at 10 o'clock.
And that
So
gives
10
us
to
a month
2.
to organize a cleanup party for the back of this building.
Absolutely. And there'll also be tires, but it is gonna be a mini tire, so 4 tires per family, please. 1 tire per person. If you're.
Okay, so I thought we were going to talk about our workshop and apparently we aren't. But I wanted to bring up something. Do we have a dumpster currently? Or do we just put out garbage cans?
The city does have a
We
dumpster
have a dumpster at the park and we also have one for the recycle, the sewage plant.
plant, yeah.
Okay, because if we're not filling those on a regular basis, those back rooms, the back rooms have a lot of stuff that just needs to go. And there's bins back there right now that we could start filling them up.
That's
And-
what I was trying to get at with maybe getting a work party figured out to take advantage of having the dumpsters that.
Only 2 of us can do it at a time though.
That's
not-
fine.
not
We have
That's
volunteer
really
organizations.
not true. We
Yeah,
don't
we
have to
can.
talk business, we can do a work party.
That is true.
I have to look at the rules before I.
Look away.
Okay,
Are we done now?
Would you like a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Don't forget to turn your mics off. Thank you everybody for coming.